Don't forget to like and subscribe for more neat facts to discover the world one click at a time. They say you are what you eat, but how much do you really know about food? Humans have come a long way from hunting and eating raw meat in the Stone Age. If you really think about it, food evolved with us. Nowadays, you'd never mistake sashimi for an American dish, which only shows how entwined food is with cultural identity. With new diets and fads popping up every now and then, getting to eat is probably one of the best things in life that we overlook. How much is there to discover about food? Watch on for a taste of the unknown. The human brain has a part dedicated to detecting burnt toast. A neurosurgeon from Canada once discovered the brain's toast center while operating on an epileptic patient. This special point in the brain tells us when our breakfast is burning. A pineapple plant can only produce one pineapple per year. A pineapple plant dies after producing a single fruit. However, it also bears offspring called plantlets in the process. These plantlets grow into the next generation of pineapple plants. Talk about a legacy. Dynamite uses peanuts as the main ingredient. Peanut oil can be used to produce glycerol, which can then be used to make nitroglycerin, which, you guessed it, is one of the dynamite's main components. The lettuce is a part of the sunflower family. It may not look like it, but this popular salad ingredient is related to sunflowers and daisies. Lettuce belongs to the Asteraceae family, along with many other flowers. Avocado used to be named after testicles. When the avocado was originally discovered by the Aztecs in 500 BC, they originally called it ahuacado, which actually translates to testicle. However, its name was changed by the Spanish to aguacate, which eventually became the word avocado today. Blueberries are rich in vitamin C. Blueberries also provide an equally good source of fiber. Vitamin C is a necessary mineral for the growth and development of tissues. They also act as powerful antioxidants that help protect our cells against damage from disease like free radicals. People eat broccoli 900% more today. The last 20 years has seen an almost 900% increase in broccoli consumption. It's great that people started to get serious about their little trees since broccoli is rich in vitamins and calcium. This vegetable also supports the liver's detoxification process. Biting a wooden spoon while cutting onions keeps you from crying. You can also try chewing bubblegum while you chop onions. This method works because the chemicals that fly up to your mouth bind to the spoon. This acts as a shield for your eyes and prevents irritation. You can eat all parts of a pumpkin. The next time you think about going for canned pumpkins, consider this. Pumpkin seeds, stem, skin, and flesh are all edible and safe for human consumption. Even the flowers are used in native dishes for some countries, commonly being deep-fried. Vanilla is not America's favorite ice cream flavor. You may have seen claims that vanilla is America's favorite ice cream flavor. However, the real crowd favorite might actually be cookies and cream flavor, with 14 states in the US choosing it as their favorite over vanilla. The rows on a corn cob are always in an even number. Corn spikelets are born in pairs, with one as fertile and the other spikelet sterile. Therefore, corn rows always form in even numbers. You can grab your nearest corn cob and see for yourself. Carrots have zero fat content. Instead, carrots contain several minerals and vitamins that are good for your health. A carrot's water content also ranges from 86 to 95%. So if you need a good fill without the unhealthy stuff, you can snack on carrots. A watermelon is 92% water. The name didn't lie. The average weight of a watermelon is 25 pounds, with most of it being water weight. The rest of the watermelon is made of 6% sugar and fiber. Alliumphobia is the fear of garlic. People who have this fear may also avoid similar plants that have pungent odors. The origin of the word comes from the Latin where allium refers to a garlic bulb. There are more than 10,000 different varieties of tomatoes. The most popular variant is the Italian heirloom, which promotes a full tomato flavor. With all these tomato breeds, over 60 million tons of tomatoes are produced annually worldwide. Eating a large amount of beetroots can change the color of your pee. Digesting enough beetroots can turn your urine into a pink color. However, these color changes are said to be harmless and will eventually pass when the beetroots leave your system. Pearls can melt in vinegar. The acetic acid found in vinegar reacts to the calcium carbonate of the pearl, which causes the bubbly reaction, which can eventually melt the pearl. You can cure your hiccups with a spoonful of sugar. It has been found that dry swallowing sugar can help stop hiccups. Ingestion of sugar can stimulate the vagus nerve, which makes your body forget about your hiccups. The sugar technique is also one of the most common hiccup cures apart from holding your breath. You can gain calories from licking stamps. Licking one stamp makes you consume 1/10 of a calorie. If you were to lick 3,000 stamps a day, that would be the equivalent of 16 chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Marmite is banned in Denmark. First released in the UK in 1902, Marmite is a yeast-based spread with salt, vegetables, and spices. This salty, savory spread is banned in Denmark due to its excessive vitamin and mineral content. Ketchup was once used as medicine. The Chinese invented ketchup in 300 BC using a concoction made with fish. In the 1830s, ketchup was made with tomatoes and marketed as medicinal. The antioxidant properties of tomatoes were said to cure indigestion and other ailments. However, it was only known as a popular condiment by the late 1800s. Mageirocophobia is a fear of cooking. This phobia takes on many forms and can all be treated based on the severity of the phobia. People suffering from Mageirocophobia can fear cooking for large groups or merely preparing food to consume by themselves. The number 57 on Heinz ketchup bottles has a meaning. The 57 on Heinz ketchup represents the number of products the company has. However, in the beginning, it was said that Henry Heinz used the number because he believed it was lucky. 29% of adults have been splashed with hot drinks while dunking biscuits. Biscuit dunking is a common occurrence in Italy, but biscuit dunking casualties have seemed to spread throughout the world, injuring over 25 million Brits. You can't carry an ice cream cone in your back pocket in Kentucky. It might sound like a joke, but this is actually an old law that was mandated to prevent horse theft. People used to lure horses out and away from their stables with ice cream cones in their back pockets. Almonds are related to peaches. It may not look like it, but almonds are known as the queen of the rose family. Other members of the rose family include peaches, apples, and apricots. Almonds were also grown for thousands of years without even having an official name. Arachibutyrophobia is the fear of peanut butter. Specifically, it is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. However, research suggests that this fear may be a more generalized phobia for choking or sticky textures. Grape growing is the largest food industry in the world. The grape industry thrives the most of all food trade. There are over 8,000 varieties of grapes and over 60 species in total. These grapes can be used to make juice or wine. Teabags were an accidental invention. Originally, Thomas Sullivan distributed such tea bags as samplers for his tea. However, when his customers submerged them in hot water, he found that it was a more convenient way to package his tea. Thus, it started the global phenomenon of putting tea in bags. Termites and ants are eaten like popcorn in South Africa. These creepy crawlies might creep you out, but they're seen as delicacies by some cultures. They are typically roasted and sold as street food. A cleanly open coconut is a good omen in some cultures. In the Philippines, a coconut cut without jagged edges is seen as a sign for good luck. Surprisingly, a coconut can also naturally crack on its own due to extreme changes in the atmosphere. The average person eats 8 pounds of grapes yearly. For the US, the Thompson seedless is the most popular grape variety. A grapevine can grow over 50 feet long and bears around 40 clusters of grapes, which feeds the average person about 4 kilograms of grapes annually. The water from boiled beetroots can be used for scalp treatment. Massaging your scalp with boiled beetroot stalk each night is a proven cure for dandruff. Simply keep the stalk on your scalp for 20 minutes before rinsing it off. There are over 7,000 different varieties of apples in the world. According to studies, there are so many kinds of apples that it would take 20 years to sample everything when eating an apple a day. The Red Delicious and Granny Smith are the most common apple varieties. The ancient Greeks chewed gum. Mastic is a substance that comes from the bark of a tree. This bark was believed to be how the Greeks maintained oral health. Both chicle and mastic are tree resins. One cluster of bananas is called a hand. A single banana is also called a finger. The most eaten grapes in 3 minutes is 133 grapes. This record was achieved by Matt Hand in 2001. On the same day, he also claimed the record for eating peas. Honeybees need to pollinate 2 million flowers for a small serving of honey. Worker bees need to visit at least 2 million flowers for a small amount of honey. To create a pound of honey, a hive of bees must fly 55,000 miles. On average, one colony can make 60 to 100 pounds of honey in 1 year. Square watermelons cost more than round ones. A square watermelon typically retails for $85. They are pricier due to the intensive labor put into shaping them. However, watermelons will not mature fully when placed in a square mold. There were over 300 banana-related accidents in 2001. In 2001, Britain reported banana-related injuries that mainly involved people slipping on banana peels. Peaches are the third most popular fruit grown in America. The top 4 states in peach production in the United States are California, South Carolina, Georgia, and New Jersey. Out of the 4, Georgia is the most known for being the peach state. Turning a pineapple upside down will make it ripen faster. Upturning a pineapple guides the flow of the sugars in the pineapple, ripening it faster and more evenly. This method also prevents the pineapple from rotting faster. Cadbury sells over 200 million cream eggs per year. First sold in 1971 as Fry's Cream Eggs, Cadbury eggs sell over 200 million servings in the UK per year, between January to Easter. Juicy fruit is over 100 years old. Created by the Wrigley Company in 1892, Juicy Fruit is one of the oldest chewing gum brands in production. Originally, Wrigley sold soap and baking powder, with a few sticks of gum as a freebie. However, the gum became more popular, which is why Wrigley focused on selling the chewing gum we came to love instead. The Swiss eat the most chocolate in the world. In Switzerland, each person consumes an average of over 22.36 pounds of chocolate per year. This is closely followed by Austria at 20.13 pounds. Chocolates can kill dogs. It's not just an urban legend. Chocolate can and will kill your fur babies. Chocolate is a stimulant similar to caffeine. For dogs, it can fatally increase blood pressure and cause vomiting and major complications. Sprinkles date back to the 19th century. These sugary decorations have always been used for confectionaries. The oldest chocolates in the world are 107 years old. These century-old chocolates date back to the coronation of King Edward VII in the year 1902. Most cheese products only contain 51% of cheese. If the label on the box says processed, prepared, or cheese food, then these products are not 100% cheese. The FDA announced that only cheese that is specifically labeled pasteurized processed cheese is 100% cheese. On average, Americans eat 28 pigs in their lifetime. The average person will consume a total of 7,000 animals in their lifetime. This can be broken down to 11 cows, 28 pigs, 2,400 chickens, 80 turkeys, and over 4,000 fish throughout one's life. Egg whites are the healthiest part of the egg. Most of the fats and vitamins of eggs are found in the yolks. However, the whites contain most of the egg's proteins. Orthorexia nervosa is an eating disorder associated with healthy foods. Orthorexia refers to the obsessive behavior of attaining a healthy diet. Despite the drive to eat healthy foods, this can deprive someone of essential fats and proteins that the body needs to function well. Yorkie bars once launched a sexist campaign. Originally, their candy bars had an "It's not for girls" slogan plastered onto the candy wrapping. It was later changed to "Man Fuel for Man Stuff" in 2012, which isn't really much better. Americans celebrate National Pigs in a Blanket Day on April 24. Americans celebrate this day by preparing pigs in a blanket, or a variety of dishes with hot dogs and sausages. Chicken nuggets contain beef. Mass-produced chicken nuggets are usually 50% meat and 50% fat, ground bone, and additives. At times, additives from other animals such as cow meat are added to create more texture. French fries did not come from France. Despite their namesake, French fries come from the country of Belgium. However, they are most popular in the United States. Shari's Berries pioneered the idea of chocolate-covered fruits. This concept was introduced in 2006 and was to be delivered in freeze packs nationwide. This company is mostly known for its chocolate-covered strawberry retail. The average person will consume at least 12 pubic hairs from fast food per year. These stray hairs get trapped between the employees' clothing on their arms or hands when pulling up their pants. Later on, these hairs will either fall onto the floor or into your food. Thinking twice about having fast food now? Only royalty were allowed to eat chocolate in 15th century France. In the 15th century, only members of the royal court were the only ones who could afford chocolate. The first soup was made of hippo. The first known soup in history dates back to 6000 BC. Bacon was once a Middle English term used to refer to all pork. During the 16th century, bacon used to be an umbrella term for all things pork. The new terms for pork came from many German and French dialects. British people eat over 3 million servings of fish and chips each year. This average amounts to 6 servings per person. Annually, 1.2 billion pounds are spent on fish and chips alone. On average, a person eats a total of 78.5 kilograms of meat each year. The highest consumption footprint in the world is in the Republic of Korea. Their diet mostly consists of meat from fish and beef. Beef and pork are the most highly consumed type of meat around the world. A Babybel weighs around 21 grams per egg. This snack is the French version of the Dutch Edam cheese. This is sold internationally by France since the 1950s and is mainly targeted towards kids, hence the name. The Worcestershire sauce is made from dissolved fish. Specifically, this tongue twister of a sauce is made from anchovies dissolved in vinegar. The sauce is well known in European countries. The roast camel is the largest menu item in the world. The Guinness Book of World Record lists whole stuffed camel as the biggest meal in the world. The dish is a whole camel stuffed with lamb that has been stuffed with chickens. The chickens are also stuffed with fish or eggs. KFC was founded in 1952. Colonel Harlan Sanders became famous for his irresistible chicken recipe that kickstarted KFC. This recipe consisted of fresh chicken and 11 different spices that give its signature aroma. Anchovies are the least liked pizza toppings. Pepperoni ranks first, followed by mushrooms among the pizza toppings. Other common ingredients such as bacon and onions are also favored by the majority of pizza eaters. White chocolate isn't chocolate. Instead, it is made from a blend of sugar and milk products, along with some cocoa butter and vanilla extracts. The reason why this cannot be classified as chocolate is that it does not contain any chocolate solids in its making process. You can turn coal mixed in peanut butter into a diamond. With enough high pressure and equipment, the carbon material inside the coal can turn into a diamond. However, this process takes an extensively long time to complete. Most cheeses and cereals contain small amounts of wood. Wood pulp is essentially sawdust. This is mixed into the product to prevent clumping. Another term for this is cellulose. Green, red, and yellow bell peppers are not the same vegetables. These plants are uniquely different from one another, which you can see from the difference in their seeds. Coffee creamers and ranch dressing have an ingredient that is also used in sunscreen and paint. Titanium oxide is a food additive often used to make white substances look whiter. This compound is considered generally safe by the FDA. However, some research suggests that it could also cause inflammatory bowel diseases in some individuals. Ground beef used in hamburgers is not made completely of beef. The ground beef normally sold at supermarkets is usually a combined mixture of different muscle tissues from animals. Some come from more than one cow, while others have pork and chicken mixed in. Fruit snacks are coated in wax. Colorful fruit-flavored snacks like gummy bears are often coated in carnauba wax. This is what makes them have that glossy shine. This is also the same wax that is used on cars to make them shine. The popsicle was invented by an 11-year-old. According to the story, the 11-year-old Frank Epperson left his soda mixed with water outside in a cup overnight. When he returned, the mixture had frozen and he ate it. He began calling this the Epsicle and sold it around Neptune Beach. When Epperson had kids, they began calling it Popsicles, which became popsicles later on. Farm-raised salmon is naturally white. Naturally, wild salmon is already pink. However, farm-raised salmon do not have the same diet as wild ones do. They are later dyed pink due to the plant additives that are mixed with their feed. Apple pie is not American. This delicacy is said to originate from medieval England. Variations of the original recipe were made popular by the Dutch, which became the known favorite of today. Potatoes can reflect your Wi-Fi signal. In a 2012 experiment to test the wireless signals on new planes, potatoes were used and placed on the seats. The results found that because of the high water content of the potatoes, they can reflect and absorb radio and wireless signals. The red dye used for candies comes from boiled beetles. Red dye is also known as carminic acid, which is commonly used for strawberry-flavored junk food and lipstick. What's the catch? This red dye is made from the crushed carcasses of the Dactylopius beetle. The raw oysters you eat are still alive. Chefs need to serve these delicacies fast because they deteriorate quickly. Some species of clams live up to 2 weeks without being in water. Dead oysters could carry diseases and pose great risks to one's health. Chocolate was once used as currency. The Aztecs are known for their love for chocolate, so much that they even used chocolate as a form of currency. Those who lived under the Aztec rule could use cocoa to pay for their taxes and other purchases. Honey never spoils. Pure honey is low in moisture and is highly acidic. In an environment such as a sealed jar, the bacteria will die almost instantly. Salt, raw rice, and sugar are also said to have never-ending shelf life unless moisture gets involved. Most wasabi found in the United States are fake. Most wasabi found in the US is just dyed horseradish. However, most Americans can't tell the difference. Actual wasabi costs around $80 per pound, which is why restaurants opt for the more cost-effective horseradish. Tomatoes were originally believed to be poisonous. They were once dubbed as the poisonous apple in the 18th century Europe because aristocrats would often die after eating them. However, they actually died of lead poisoning from their tableware. Grapes will explode in a microwave. Splitting the grape almost in half and placing it inside will create a fireball of plasma in the radiation and heat of the microwave. The grape cannot absorb much power, which results in a concentration of energy that will make it explode. Just don't try this at home. Crackers give you cavities faster than candy. When a cracker becomes sticky in your mouth and gets stuck between your teeth, bacteria gather around the area faster to feast. The sticky texture that your mouth creates from the crackers allows the bacteria to dig longer into your teeth, which causes cavities. Chili peppers are not spicy. The burning sensation in your mouth is a mental reaction and not a physical one. These peppers contain a chemical called capsaicin, which naturally binds to the pain receptors in your nerves. This is what causes your brain to believe that you are eating something spicy. There's always something to be surprised about in everyday life, even with something as mundane as our meals. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more facts videos.